Near the end of chapter 22, we find Keith falling into a trap that Sydney and Adrian have set for him, one that is much deserved now that we know all the things that Keith's been doing throughout the book. And this chapter also gives us a few interesting things about Sydney and Adrian. One is, of course, just their ability to work together here. And the other is really seeing Adrian step up and take a proactive role. And I would even say it's a heroic role. It's not the kind of, throwing himself into a fight against impossible odds and monsters, but he's still kind of going out on a limb there, for Sydney especially. And I just love the part where she asks him if he can break into it, and he says, of course I can pick a lock. I've been breaking into liquor cabinets since I was 13. And so, suddenly Adrian has this role that he can do as he goes and searches out to find evidence against Keith. And it's a nice character change for Adrian, because for so much of this book and the past series, he's the fun party guy who's there with his witty quips, and he doesn't always get his hands dirty, and we don't know if he's just not capable or doesn't want to, and we start to get our first sign here that, hey, you know what, he really can handle things when they are presented to him. And this chapter finally gives us the full story on Keith and what has been going on with him and Sydney, why Sydney hates him so much, and why she's in particularly why she's appalled at her dad's treatment of him. Her dad thinks Keith is this great guy, and Sydney has hinted to us the whole time that there's more to Keith than we know, that he's actually done some really terrible things. And so we find out that it's not just him abusing this tattoo ring in Palm Springs for his own personal gain, in a way that goes contrary to all alchemist beliefs, but he also had this abusive relationship with her sister. And Sydney had, unfortunately, without realizing it because she was so young, locked herself into a bad situation by promising her sister she wouldn't tell anyone. And so Sydney's been sitting on this terrible knowledge of what Keith did, but been unable to act because she wanted to honor her sister's promise. And so this is certainly kind of a sweet moment for Sydney, to finally see Keith get busted and people realize, oh, hey, he's not the golden boy the alchemists have been painting him as. As we go further into the book, we'll see Sydney has one more coup she gets in there on Keith before everything is said and done.